And this is where I learn about something that I never knew about in my investigation, which is the Nation of Islam. And are you familiar with them?
MLK?
He, to my knowledge, was not involved in the Nation of Islam.
Was not. Okay.
So, and again, all of these things, it could be like misleading. I think it's very hard to figure out what the truth is, because even what we have access to could still be information that leads us astray, if that makes sense.
So Nation of Islam was a kind of, I want to say, on its pinnacle in the 60s with Muhammad, right? Muhammad Ali. Right now, I didn't even know that Nation of Islam still exists and they do something. So for the audience, maybe that are just 20-year-olds, what's a Nation of Islam? What it is?
Yeah, so I'll break it down because I just learned about it this year. So I had heard that phrase and I had heard the name Louis Farrakhan, but I knew nothing. And as I began to research, I learned that Fahim Muhammad is a member, or so some people call it a cult, some people call it a like fraction of Islam, but they, on thefinalcall.com, that's like their newsletter, and in their speeches and in their media, they're very forthright with what their mission is. And they think the white race is evil, and they are openly black separatists, and they are building their nation and their kingdom, and they're headquartered in Chicago, and they say their nation will never fall again, which makes me think like they want out with the old and in with the new. So
unburdened by what has been.
Yes, unburdened by, yes. That's a whole nother, Kamala was in a sorority, and the moderator of the debate was her sorority sister. That's a whole nother.
Really? I haven't heard that.
I know, it's wild. There's just so much to look into.
Coincidence.
Yes.
Allegedly.
Yes, such a coincidence. So what was kind of crazy is seeing P Diddy and all these rappers crossover and involvement with the Nation of Islam. And the most alarming thing to me is that I haven't heard about it or learned about it. And again, I mean, I believe there's many reasons for that. There's a lot going on. There's so much that all of us have been distracted from, and that's how whoever they is, that's how they want it. They want us distracted and not reading and not researching and look over here. Don't learn to think for yourself or find your own, information. But what was so alarming is seeing the source of like racism and hatred and vitriol come from this organization, and no one is saying it's like a national threat to our security. Yeah, and it's not something that you would have ever heard in conversation. Like maybe it's, you know how you know about things, like, oh yeah, I've kind of heard a little bit about that, or I heard a few news reports, and I've just been living under a rock. I don't know. How many people listening do you know the ins and outs of this religious sect? But I was alarmed that they very openly say we are building our kingdom. It's only for Black people who live in America. So it's not for individuals that are Islamic in other countries.
Yeah, not for all the Muslims.
Yeah, it's only for Black Americans, and no one else is invited. And, also what I've seen in this investigation is like, if you own the land, you own the country. And sorry to go off on a tangent here, but everybody needs to start reverse searching these parcels and weird ownership. It unlocks some of the craziest rabbit holes, and it'll just start as this did, with looking up one parcel in public records, and this whole story became unleashed. And it's led us to other parcels next to it on the border, which are also questionable.
Like what?
Well, so looking around, right, it would be, if you're looking at a map, it's to the left, which would be west of I call it the Diddy Fahim Sunset Dior parcel because they're all overlapped. It's about 4,000 acres of land that is owned by a company called Empire 2 LLC. And that's the Hagen family, which is like a California empire. And
Why would they own that? So this land is basically a desert, a wilderness. Nothing to do there at all. Once you see it, it's like, what should I do with this land? They have a purpose.
Yeah, right now they're working on a huge solar project.
Sure.
Through the county of San Diego.
Of course.
Starlight Solar. Definitely, I'm looking into that more and trying to find more information. The Hagens are the owners of the Empire Polo Fields, which is Coachella.
Interesting. Okay.
They also they at one time were responsible for some of like the largest ownership, I believe, of commercial real estate property in the state of California. And like Hagen Sr. was appointed by the governor in, it was like 1983 for some projects in Tahoe. So we're looking into that. But if you follow Trump and you actually don't listen to what the media says about him, and you know that he is the most epic troller of all time. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with that?
No.
Okay.
With some kind of a specific example?
Yeah. When he came to California and had his rally on the Coachella fields, I believe he was trolling the Hagens.
What did he say?
He came to say, it's like a flex, I think, for him. I know what's going on here, and I'm not afraid to come to this foreign occupied territory, which I believe our state is. Mm-hmm. I think we are
just know
but
that
not
we
for
know.
long.
Mm-hmm.
But we know exactly, and what that is to be determined. But everything is just very strange right now.